folks, welcome to another edition of Luthier's Lair. This is going to be a little series detailing a dumpster dive base build. Yes indeed. You know, over the years as a luthier, sometimes you collect a bunch of stuff that really never sees the light of day. For example, I about 7 or 8 years ago bought a neck from eBay, a 34-inch scale neck from eBay, when I was building by hand, and I used that neck to gauge all the 34-inch scale necks that I made from that point onward, and it really worked well. But it's just been lying there, and that's been its only purpose. Also, I've picked up, you know, old base bodies and bridges and pickups and all that stuff, and I thought, you know, it was kind of like dumpster dive stuff, you know, so I'm calling this series Dumpster Dive Base Build. And let's go and take a look at the parts that I've managed to rummage out of the workshop, and let's see what we can do with this stuff. Maybe we'll get a nice base out of it. Let's go and take a look, shall we? So, what have we got here then? What have we got here then? Okay, I'll explain the assortment of, which kind of looks like garbage, but it's not. Everything works here, and we'll go through it. I'll tell you what it is. Okay, first off, let's go to this body. This was rescued from a local hobbyist about 9 years ago, I think. I've showed this body before, I don't know. And I used this, you know, to gauge certain things, and that was it. I never thought I could turn it into anything playable, but you know, I'm thinking otherwise now. It has that sort of Ibanez kind of look about it, the shape. Very similar to an Ibanez, nicely rounded corners and stuff on here. It was pretty good, and as you can see, the hobbyist tried to paint it silver. Never got around to putting a clear coat on it or anything, so it's all scuffed up and stuff. I don't know what wood this is. By weight it feels like basswood. I'm not too sure though, but I can guess sand off a bit of this silver paint that it's got on it. Yeah, it's basswood. So it is light, you know. So it's a light body, but this is going to be really easy to clean up. As you can see, that's just flaking off this stuff. Yeah, that's going to be fine. Okay, God's sake. Trust me, you know, trust me. Anyway, so let's move on to the neck that I have here. Now, like I said in the intro, I bought this neck off of eBay to about 8 years ago, actually. It was. I looked up my history. It was about 8 years ago, and I used this to scale other necks. 34-inch scale neck, and I used it to scale out other necks. And I had tried it in one guitar to prove that it indeed was a 34-inch scale, and of course I used those fellas just to make sure all the fret spacing was correct on it. So this was a bargain actually, and it has lovely inlays in it. A lot of you luthiers might have seen this before on eBay. It's a pretty common item, but you know, I'm thinking of, you know, maybe making something out of this. The problem is it doesn't fit this neck pocket, so I'm going to have to make some changes somewhere. See, it's just too wide. I can either thin this down or widen this. I'd rather thin this down. And there's always a danger, of course, it's got a blank headstock, so I can do anything with that I like, really. And like, the danger is, this is a 34-inch scale neck, and I know this body is probably meant for a 32-inch scale. When I put that in there and measure the scale, the bridge comes to about here. There is a grounding wire for the bridge on this base already, but you know, if I'll tell you about that when I show you the bridge. We'll come to that right now actually. Hold on. We're going to use a standard, you know, Fender P-bass kind of bridge on this, and it actually sits about here. When I measured this up, 34 inches came to about sort of here-ish. But I figured, you know, I can use this bridge and I can get the scale length I like, and it's not gonna, the bridge isn't going to hang over the edge too. So I'm happy with that. The only problem is with this body being so light, I might get a neck diver here when I put this. So I maybe have to add additional weight to the body in some place. As you can see, the body has 3 control holes here, and I'm going to stick with that. I have an old passive harness that I made some time ago, lying around. 2 volume, 1 tone, just like an old jazz bass type harness, passive jazz bass. So it's going to be a passive bass, which will be nice, since I'm very used to building active basses right now. But yeah, so you know, this is all just stuff I've accumulated over the years. Now this body, also if we turn it around, I'm going to have to do like a rubbing or a tracing of this control cavity so that I can get the correct shape to make the cover. That's no problem at all. And as you can see, it has 5 holes to bolt on the neck. I have 4 old ferrules in stock, and 1 silver or chrome and 1 gold one. So I might have to go and try and scavenge a new chrome ferrule, but these fit perfectly, very tight fit, which is awesome. I'm glad for that. So that's good. Okay, the control cavity there and stuff. Now with weight, I couldn't actually put some sort of weight in here, you know, route out a cavity here, put a weight in it if need be, and then cover it over and paint it, and nobody will know the difference. So yeah. Pickups, yes, pickups sir, yes. Well, I have a bunch of old pickups in stock that work. I've already continuity checked these, and as you can see with this body, it's PJ, that's what I'm looking for. It's got the PJ design in it, which is P-bass, J-bass coil selection there. These are all single coil pickups here, and I'll have a volume for this, a volume for that, and then a tone for the master circuit. So I've got that. That's awesome. Light 2x2 tuning heads here for the bass. You know, the Schaller type, Goto type small tuning heads. They're in stock. I have an ebony nut here, which might be interesting. I really don't go for wooden nuts because they don't last long with it. You know, if you've got round strings grating against this, it's going to dig down. I might change that out, I might not. And of course a truss rod cover there for the end, and assorted screws, strap buttons here, just regular strap buttons for this. And you know, I've got the makings of a full build here, just from dumpster diving my own workshop. Lovely, right? I think where we should start is getting this sanded off, all this sanded down, sanded off. Definitely going to be painted, but I believe that I shouldn't sand this too much, because this paint actually can act as a filler for the basswood underneath. And then I'll probably prime it again, maybe fill it some more, get it even, and then, oh god, trust me, what am I like? Oh my god, man. and then we'll get this into shape for a repaint. We might do a dip, you know, a hydro dip on it. That's looking actually like an awesome possibility for this body shape. I'd like to see that. And I've never tried one of those hydro dip paint jobs before, so I might try that. That might be cool. I think it might be cool actually. Do you think? I think it would be cool. Do you think it was good? I think so. Anyway, so yeah, that's the rundown of the equipment I have for this. And let's have at it. Let's have some fun for a change. I always have fun. So the first step in sanding this less than desirable paint job is to hand sand it first. I'm going to hand sand it because I don't want to use a power sander on it, because the paint might melt into the wood and create all sorts of problems. So I'm just going over it by hand. Back is hurting, but you know, needs as must. And we'll see what sort of wood we've got underneath it. Once I get most of it off by hand, then I can switch to the power sander, because there's much less likelihood of the paint melting into the wood. And you can probably use a power sander as well. You just, you know, if it's variable rate, you can do it, and don't apply any pressure at all. Just let the paper do the work, and you should be okay. See, I'm getting to the stage now that I can probably use, look at that, it's disgusting. I can probably use a power sander on it. I'll use it at the gentlest setting, and we'll get this done. Of course, the sides I'm going to have to do by hand completely. It does have very nice contours, this. Again, it does remind me of the Ibanez series of bases. I can't quite remember the model. I'll go look that up actually, and that's probably an interesting tidbit that I should include in this build. But yeah, see, that's starting to look okay now. I just get a cloth there, and yeah, you can see the wood coming through now. And even then, I mean, this still, you know, that's not nice stuff right there. So we got to be careful. Got some extraction on, you might hear it. And then yeah, we can switch to power now, and when I come back, this will all be sanded. Brilliant. Okay, nice low setting on this. This is 220 grit paper. And just very gently go over it. Let the paper do the work. Let the machine do the work. Do not press. Do not press down. See that? It really comes up beautiful if you do it that way. Just take your time with it. If you press too hard, you're likely to gouge the wood. This is a soft hardwood, so be careful. And as you see, it's cleaning up really nicely now after giving it that initial hand sand. I'm not getting any melting of the paint, so it looks like a very cheap paint, so I can't be too careful with this, you know. See that? And a lot of it is in the pores already, so that's really good. I can, you know, treat the wood and refill it as well, which I'll probably do anyway. But I can refill it, and you can see there. Look at the low spots there in the wood. So somebody hasn't leveled this at all. I'm glad I rescued this body. It's quite pretty. It's a pretty body, and we'll see what we get. Yeah. So I'm just going to continue with this, and I'll be right back, okay? Okay, so you can see I've done the top side, and when I brush my fingers across this, you can see there's a white residue. So this wood has had some filler in it. It's just not been evenly felt. See, right there, and that's not sanding dust or anything. That's actually filler. So I don't want to go any further on sanding this. There are still flakes of paint in there, and my concern now is that these paint flecks will not take a real filler, and that is for sure that's going to happen. So what I need to do is use a paint solvent that is not aggressive to the wood, and as you can see, this is a 3-part, you can see the parts, 3-part basswood composite body that we have here. So basswood's cheap, but it's lightweight as well, and it can take a fair amount of punishment, especially if you have a good finish on it. So now what we're going to do, or what we have to do really, is use a solvent to get all these other little bits of paint out of there, and I'll just completely refill this grain and get it flat as hell, and rough it up slightly to take some paint, and then we'll put a clear coat on it. But you know, yeah, that's what's going to happen. But I'll start sanding the back now, and oh God's sake, nice paint job. And yeah, and we'll go from there and do the same to the back. Then we'll go manually around the sides, because I don't want to gouge the wood. I want it to retain this rather striking shape. Actually, I really like this design, always have done. And we'll go from there. Okay, awesome. Well folks, that's about it for part 1. Adventures begin. In part 2 we'll further prepare the body for a paint job. Yes, we'll actually we'll further prepare the body for a paint job. Maybe do a bit of filling here and there, just to show you the techniques I use for filling, and we'll have a quick look at the neck and decide what we're going to do with that headstock. Yes, okay, so until then, thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, helps out a lot. Give a thumbs up and tap that bell for notification of any further uploads that I will be doing in the future. And again, till then, stay safe, be good, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers folks, thanks, bye bye.